Jon Rothstein has a report about Justice Suing's future playing college basketball. Ohio State gets a commit from a four-star Ohio native, and Dwayne Washington Jr. ditches that two-way contract. All that and more right here on Locked on Buckeyes.
You are Locked on Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Buckeye fans? Welcome back to another episode of Locked on Buckeyes, part of Locked on Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. It is a Thursday, April the 7th in the year 2022. And today's episode is brought to you by Bet Online. Bet Online has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. Bet Online, where the game starts. I would also like to thank everyone out there for making Locked on Buckeyes their first listen of every single day. Over the next few weeks, we'll be seeing people like Pete Thamel of ESPN on the college football side, a little basketball that he does as well, and Jon Rothstein on the college basketball side, breaking some news about players transferring, entering the portal, where they're going to be playing collegiately next year, if they're going to go to the NBA draft. We'll see these national reporters breaking these type of news stories. Pete Thamel broke one about Legend Cavazos entering the transfer portal, and also Jon Rothstein gave us a little insight into what Justice Suing is going to do in regards to his future playing college basketball. I also believe that Rothstein had the Justin Ahrens situation as well, where Justin Ahrens announced that he was going to be transferring and playing his final year of collegiate eligibility, not in Columbus. Jon Rothstein says this about Justice Suing and his future playing college basketball. Quote, Justice Suing tells me that he will use his additional year of eligibility and return to college next season. No other decisions have been made, end quote. This is something that I think was the timing of it. It's very interesting. I think Jon Rothstein has been working those phones like crazy and texting like crazy to get all around college basketball, to talk to players like a Justin Ahrens, to talk to players like a Justice Suing, to see what they are feeling, to see what they're thinking about their futures, so he can get a better landscape and better approach to the offseason, and really for him to know what's going to happen next year. He's doing his job. But Rothstein also shows me he's talked to Ahrens and Suing around the same time, and I don't really think this is a bad situation for Justice Suing. Take your time, look and see what's out there. You see Ohio State's roster. We're going to go over here in a second. They don't have many players coming back from this year's team. We went over the 9 players that could be gone off the previous team. There's going to be a lot of young players and not a lot of productivity coming back from this past season. Justice Suing only played in 2 games, was hampered, and I believe he had an abdomen injury that kept him out of most of the season. And so he's thinking, hey, let me get healthy. Let me see what else is out there. I know this team is going to be young. I know they're going to have a lot of talented freshmen coming in. But once again, this team is going to be young. So is this the right spot for me to stay? Already transferring from Cal, should I transfer one more? Or should I stay where I currently am and play basketball and lead the Buckeyes next year? My personal opinion, maybe being a little selfish, I would love for Justice Suing to play basketball at Ohio State. I think he could be a leader. I think he could be a big piece of this team, a piece of the pie that Chris Holtmann probably wants to be on the squad next year. But I completely understand where he's coming from. Stats aside, I don't really need to look at his stats to see where he is looking to play the basketball. It's likely he returns to Ohio State. But when you're able to look out there and talk to other coaches, talk to your people in your camp, and talk to Chris Holtmann and see really what the people that advise you to make decisions, what do they think you should do? Because without looking out that road and talking to those people, I don't think Justice Suing could properly make the right decision or a good decision about his future playing college basketball. This roster, looking at it, I knew it was going to be young. It could be younger than we think. So I do have Brandon on here for a second, but you'll understand why I have him on the list of 11 players that could possibly be on Ohio State's roster next year. Returning from this past year's team, Michi Johnson, Eugene Brown, Zed Key, and Kalen Etzler. I'm not putting in Justice Suing or Seth Towns right now. I'm going to put a question mark by Towns because I'm going to update this as we talk. So Seth Towns is on here as a question mark. Not sure if he's going to come. Got 13 players listed, updating it. Suing is a question mark. I could technically put Justin Arns as a question mark because even though he's in the portal, he could technically come back to Ohio State. But since he's in the portal, I'm not going to go down that road. Michi Johnson, Eugene Brown III, Zed Key, Kalen Etzler. Etzler redshirted last year. Then also Malike Branham could. So the for sure coming back, Michi Johnson, Eugene Brown, Zed Key, Kalen Etzler. Those that could come back, Justice Suing, Seth Towns, Justin Arns, and Malike Branham. It's rare that you see a guy in the portal that comes back to school. It's likely that Justice Suing stays at Ohio State. Seth Towns, things are still up in the air. Maybe medically he thinks that playing college basketball, his career is over. We just don't know. But it's a possible. And then you have a guy like Tanner Holden who transferred. You have 5 freshmen. Now, these are talented young men, but they're still true freshmen. They're fresh. Keep that in mind. Felix Acapera, a center, 6'11", 210. Roddy Gale Jr., a shooting guard, 6'4", 195. Bruce Thornton, a point guard, 6'1", 205. Bryce Sensabaugh, a small forward, 6'6", 240. I like that size on him. And then Bowen Hardman, shooting guard, 6'3", 160. Bowen is from Cincinnati, Ohio. We got 4 guys here that are definitely coming back. Very limited productivity. Branham, Suing, and Towns and Arns can technically come back. I think Arns is gone. I think Suing stays. I think Seth Towns stays or he doesn't play college basketball next year. I think Branham's probably going to, based off the things I've been seeing, probably stay in the NBA draft. If it's first round or bust, he's probably going to stay in the draft. I do believe he'll be a first round draft pick. Then you got these 5 freshmen, true freshmen that are coming in. If I'm Justice Suing, if I'm Chris Holtman, I hope Justice Suing stays. I absolutely hope he does. If I'm Justice Suing, do I want to play with a team of youngsters? That's a question I'm asking myself before making a decision about my future playing in Columbus next year or transferring for a second time to learn a new system this off season. Boom! Yes, that's exactly what it is. I know I may have startled you coming back from a break, but whenever you hear that boom, you know there are big things happening at The Ohio State University. 4-star safety, Mr. Malik Hartford, committed to Ohio State just a day ago. Mr. Malik Hartford, a 6'3", 170-pound safety from Lakota West High School in West Chester, Ohio. He's a 4-star recruit, ranked number 90 overall in the nation via 247 Sports. The number 5 safety in the recruiting class of 2023 and the number 2 player out of the state of Ohio in the 2023 recruiting class. His recruitment kind of got ramped up and kind of went a little fast, and it was all really helped by Perry Iliano. Perry Iliano was a former DB coach at Cincinnati. Cincinnati offered Mr. Malik Hartford to go to Ohio State, and I cannot think right now. Mr. Eliano had a great relationship with Malik Hartford. Eliano was their lead recruiter at Cincinnati, and so when you're the lead recruiter, you're in the state of Ohio, and you have an Ohio kid, that's kind of a connection that you want to make very, very quickly. As his progression, as his recruitment progressed, he had offers from not only Ohio State, but also Alabama, Notre Dame, the team up north, West Virginia, Northwestern, Indiana, just to name a few others. He had offers from a lot of people. I think he had over a dozen offers over a quick period of time. But when you see something and when you know there's a connection and you like the connection you have with a coach in a school, if that coach goes to a new school, you have to really realize and think about, do I want to stay at his old school? I mean, it's a possibility. Or do I want to be a player that decides that I am going to be exactly where I'm going to be? I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm going to stick to where I am. I'm going to stick to what I do and move forward with the guy that I connected with. Not the symbol on the shirt that he wears on Saturday afternoons, but the physical person himself, and follow him to his next landing spot. That's what he did. Now, granted, we're going to hear a couple of quotes, or I'm going to read a couple of quotes to you that Mr. Malik Hartford said about his decision to go to Ohio State and to commit there. But I ultimately believe that Perry Eliano was a big piece to why this young man decided to commit to Ohio State when he did. This is what he had to say, Malik Hartford, that is, about why he picked Ohio State, and you're going to love what you hear from him. Quote, this is him talking to Bucknuts.com, a 247 sports site. Quote, I picked the Buckeyes because they are not only a great program, but a great school. I love the 3 safety scheme they run, and they are great at developing players. I was impressed with the program as a whole, just an amazing place to be, end quote. That's a huge statement from a guy who's currently a junior, but going to be entering this upcoming fall, his senior year of high school, talking about the school, talking about the scheme, talking about the 3 safety look. If you're a 6'3" safety, going to a school, there may be multiple positions you can play based off your own skill set that might fit where you're going to play at Ohio State. You might be cross-training between a couple safety positions. You might be somebody that can be very versatile and potentially play all 3 safety positions. Now, granted, that's not likely because there's different skill sets needed for all 3 of them. There's a good chance you could play all 3. Now, you need to be very, very smart. Need to be able to read and react on the field. Need to be able to be coachable. But for him to say those things early on, and I know myself as a junior in high school, I would have never thought about 3 safety scheme. What? Man, I'm a free safety. I don't care about a little 3 safety scheme. I'm trying to play that free safety position and go on and move for that. Now, I'm talking like I am him, not like I am myself. If it was myself, more so offensive line, defensive line, I don't really care. I ain't trying to play no nose tackle, buddy. Put me in that 3 tech and let me get loose. That's what I would have been thinking at that time. I would have been saying, let me stick to what I'm used to. Let me get what I'm doing. Don't change who I am. But this young man knows there's something special about Ohio State right now. There's something special about what Ohio State is doing and how they are getting better as we speak. Here's some more about what Malik Hartford had to say. A little bit about Pereliano, and then also a little bit about future after playing in college football. Quote, I've known Coach Eliano throughout most of my recruiting process. We have a good relationship. End quote. Going to continue more with the future talk NFL. Quote, most of all, I want to play in the NFL and compete for championships. And I know Ohio State can help me get where I want to be. End quote. This young man, I don't know who's in his corner. I don't know who he's talked to. I don't know who his high school coaches are. I don't know anybody in his circle. But the one thing I know, for him to be able to know that Ohio State is a place for you to go and play better professionally, yes, that may be a foregone conclusion. There may be somebody that are casual or not even college football fans, but they may see that symbol and they may recognize the symbol as saying, oh, that's a factory. Factory of what? Do they make cars? Do they make clothes? Do they ship things out? What do they make? They make professional athletes in the NFL. That's what they make. Ohio State does that all the time, year in and year out. What does Ohio State make? They breed talent, top-tier talent that goes on to have really good, long, illustrious NFL careers. We see what happened with Malcolm Jenkins, recently retired from the NFL, New Orleans, Philadelphia, back to New Orleans. I think he played 13 years. Durability, we have seen how he's looked at and he is praised by New Orleans Saints fans. I don't think there's a person that has a bad thing to say about Malcolm Jenkins, and he will go back and say, a lot of this is happening because of what happened, what took place from when I was playing at the Ohio State University. Malik Hartford, I'm looking forward to seeing him play the football and looking forward to see him be somebody that can be a big piece of what happens in the future in regards to Malik Hartford. What happens, as I can't get my words correct, what happens with him in this recruiting class, and really what happens over the next few years as Jim Knowles transfers, adapts, adjusts to Big Ten football, also adapts and adjusts to the recruits that are currently at Ohio State. We're going to see a lot about this young man and how Jim Knowles is able to help young people fully understand his current system and seeing how well and how quickly he can shift the recruits' minds that are already at Ohio State. We may see a few decommits because they might not see a role at Ohio State. You might see a shift in the body build and body type of the players that are recruited. We handed out it earlier this year in regards to how the defensive linemen you might see a different body type at D tackle potentially. Big Ten football, you're going to see a lot of heavier guys. You're still going to see guys that are shifty. You might see some heftier D tackles. We've already seen that more lately, where D tackles are coming in a little heavier. And that's what's needed right now. I mean, you need guys you want a guy that's a 300-pounder that can also be quick and have quick feet and be quick off the ball, not be slow as molasses and just be a stump on a stump. You don't want that. You don't want that at all. And so I'm curious to see will we see more 6'3" safeties. Now, I'm not saying Sonny Styles might be more the bullet style at 6'4", but that's still something that's different. Will we see more 6'3", 6'4" guys playing the bullet or safety position? Will we see a guy that's maybe 6'2", 6'3", 220, maybe a Court Williams style that's playing that safety position more consistently? What will we see? Now, Court Williams was not a Jim Knowles recruit, but he fits perfectly with what Jim Knowles wants to do on the field. Malik Hartford, he is the sixth player that has joined the recruiting class of 2023 for Ohio State. Luke Montgomery, offensive tackle from Findlay, Ohio, number 48 ranked player according to 247 Sports. You also had Ty Lockwood, tight end. Joshua Padilla, offensive lineman from Dayton, Ohio. Cedric Hawkins, you have him from Cocoa, Florida. He's a safety, standing at 6 foot, 165 pounds. And also Will Smith, yes, the son of Will Smith. This is Will Smith Jr., defensive tackle, 6'3", 260 from Dublin, Ohio. Excited to have Malik Hartford join the class of 2023, and I'm looking forward to more people joining him as this recruiting class continues to progress and more people start to join it. From Justice Suing, the basketball, to Malik Hartford, the football, both of those are college variety. Let's move forward with a man I called junior last year, Dwayne Washington Jr., who had a year in the NBA that was kind of expected for him. The way the Indiana Pacers season went and how really discombobulated that team was, really how sad and how poor their season went. If you follow the NBA, you may have seen some reports about the Pacers owner and how he views the team and how he views getting better and improving. Pacers fans were disgruntled with how the owner, Herb Simon, started to kind of view the team, and really Pacers fans, Colts fans, those inside of the state of Indiana really disgruntled with the way the ownership, well, not really the ownership of the Colts, but the way the front office is handling things and progressing the team. But when the Pacers decided to bring in Dwayne Washington Jr. to a contract, you know that your contract, the player does, contract's not guaranteed. It's half of what the minimum salary is for the NBA, and you could get cut literally at any moment. So Dwayne Washington Jr. knew he needed to come in. He needed to do his thing. He needed to ball out. He needed to get loose consistently. And any chance he got to play at the NBA level on the Pacers, not the Mad Ants, but if he got to play on the Pacers, he needed to do his thing every single night. He played in 46 games for the Pacers, over half of what's there in the NBA season. He averaged 20.1 points per game. He started in 7 games for the Pacers, averaged 9.6 points per game, shot 39.4% from the field, shot a whopping 36.6% from downtown, added in 1.8 rebounds per game, 1.8 assists per game as well. And Dwayne Washington Jr., all his hard work, his commitment to his craft, consistently getting better, he has ditched the two-way contract and he has signed a multi-year deal as the Indiana Pacer. Not a two-way contract. That young man has said, hey, I'm putting in this work. I'm grinding every day. I'm doing my thing. I'm playing the child sport that I love at a high level, and the Pacers have seen that. Pacers have had some injuries. The Pacers have not been a team that you've probably watched very much throughout the year. Now, the Pacers do have a nationally televised game coming up. I believe this coming Sunday against the Brooklyn Nets, either Saturday or Sunday. You might want to watch that game simply for Dwayne Washington Jr. to see how he plays. It'll be on the ESPN. Also, the Masters will be on. So if you say, Jay, I ain't watching no basketball when I can watch the golf and see Tiger Woods potentially win a Masters green jacket after 14 months ago, we didn't think he was going to play golf ever again. Hey, man, I get it. 2 screens. Go ahead and do that thing. It'll be A-okay. But I'm happy for Junior, man. I remember last year saying, I don't know if he's going to be a consistent NBA player. Now, I will almost also be honest with you. Sometimes I struggle to make the projections about what people are going to do at the next level. I remember it was a few years ago, 2016, 17, 18 maybe. I was at a basketball game. My dad, my brother, my uncle, and I was there watching Romeo Langford, now of, I believe, the San Antonio Spurs. One of the great players in high school basketball I've been able to watch. And my brother was asking me, he said, hey, Jay, do you think he's going to be a one-and-done player? I said, I don't know. I have no idea. Remember, we were watching Kyle Guy play. Kyle Guy, most outstanding player in the 2019 NCAA tournament. I think he's now on the Miami Heat. He spent the time out in Golden State, but I think right now he is on the Miami Heat. My brother was asking me at that time and said, hey, do you think Kyle Guy is going to the NBA? I said, Jeremy, I don't know. He's saying, why don't you know? I said, Jeremy, do you realize this man's playing high school basketball as a senior? Do you realize the jump that's going to take to go from playing at this level to the high major Division I level? Do you know what it's going to take for him to, when he gets to play under Tony Bennett, and you get to see how that structure, that system, does it fit him? Will he adjust his game? Can that bad boy play defense? I mean, Kyle Guy is a skinny basketball player. These are kids that I got to see play in high school. And these kids, now, Romeo Langford, different build than Kyle Guy, but I'm asking my brother, I'm like, hey, man, look, I don't know. I don't want to go out on a limb. Now, I don't mind being wrong, but if I feel like the best answer I could provide at that time is I don't know, you guys know this very well. If you don't, if you're a new listener, I'm going to key you in on something. If Jay don't know, he's going to say he doesn't know. Simple as that. Easy as that. If I don't know, I'm going to tell you that I don't know. And I did it with my brother. I did it with Romeo Langford. Romeo Langford almost leads Indiana. One of the things, he's like top 5 in the state in high school basketball players is scoring in the entire state. I know the leader is over 3,000 points in his high school basketball career. Romeo Langford's top 5, maybe top 3. I mean, he was really close to breaking that record. Phenomenal basketball player. But as we saw, 1 year at Indiana did not do very well for him. And then as we saw when he got to the Celtics, something didn't click. He could kill you in high school. But something in his brain and his game didn't click once he got to Indiana, got to the NBA, and he's probably going to get a second contract. But just something didn't click in him. Kyle Guy, he's had 2-way contracts. He might consistently have 2-way contracts. At the time, I didn't know, and he's got there, great. But I'm not going to be one to tell you that it's going to be great. When it came to Junior, I thought 2-way contract was going to be his calling card. I didn't think he would get anything outside of a 2-way contract after his first year. I also didn't predict that he was going to go to a team that would have so many injuries, that would have so many issues, and they need the youth on the team to step up, the healthy youth to step up and play, because the guys that are better at the top of the roster, they're injured, always injured. So Junior took advantage of the situation, took advantage of the opportunity in front of him, and he has flourished, and he has gotten himself a multi-year contract. No more 2-way contract. Only thing about monetarily that I can tell you right now is that he is going to double his salary. He's no longer going to get half of the league minimum. He's going to get no less than a league minimum, and he cannot get cut at any time. That's all I have for you right now as far as details of the contract. When those things come out, if time allows for that to come out, I may slide it in there in a podcast. I'll let you guys know more about Junior and his contract, but I got to do it. I have not done this in a long time on the podcast. I got to get that boy a hand clap. He took advantage of the opportunity. He flourished. He's getting more money. He's playing the child sport that he loves at a high level and getting paid for it. You got to love it. You got to love every part of it, guys. We're out here on Thursday, one more day here in the week. The Masters starts today. Major League Baseball starts today. The spring game is next week. We have football. We're going to have football we're able to watch. College football. We're going to have golf. We're going to have Major League Baseball. The NBA playoffs start soon. We're going to have some of these summer leagues, football leagues, I believe they're going to be playing soon as well. So much going on, but I want you to make sure you're tapped into Locked On Buckeyes. Make sure you're subscribed to the Locked On Buckeyes YouTube channel. New big things coming. There will be some videos. There will be YouTube-only videos. There will not be an audio stripping of the of the video. It'll be video only on the YouTube. You want to check that out. Subscribe to the Locked On Buckeyes YouTube page. Have some more big things coming up very, very soon leading up to the spring game. Do a little spring game preparation, a little offense, a little defense. Yes, we're going to break down both sides, what we can expect from both sides, players to watch, things to watch, what Ryan Day thinks about depth at certain position. We'll talk about that tomorrow and a whole lot more because, as I told you yesterday, there's never a slow day covering Ohio State. And this week right now is a testament and proves that that statement is true. Thank you guys so much for making Locked On Buckeyes your first to listen of every single day. Now make your second listen of the day the Locked On NFL Draft podcast. Ryan Tracy and former NFL defensive back Eric Crocker bring the NFL draft to life every single day with insight and analysis on college football prospects and NFL front offices. The Locked On NFL Draft podcast, just like Locked On Buckeyes, they are both free and available wherever you get your fine podcast.